So, let's settle ourselves. Because there was a research into how many thoughts on average they thought people had in a day, and it was some outrageously large number. And out of those thoughts, maybe many of them were not conducive to liberation and enlightenment, and not even conducive to the happiness of future lives, and maybe not even really conducive to this life's happiness. A lot of them were disturbing thoughts, angry thoughts, envious thoughts, anxious thoughts, etc., etc. So now we have a chance to reverse all that due to the kindness of Lord Buddha, first of all, whom we are remembering strongly today. And then also, we could say, the ambassadors of Buddhism, the people who have kept the tradition alive without a break. This is the extraordinary nature of the Buddhist parampara, the lineage, the divine lineage, holy lineage, we could say. Since the source is divine, it's called a parampara, according to Samdang Rinpoche Ji. It qualifies as a parampara, a proper lineage. The holder, the one who manifests it, is awakened, is enlightened. It is in a manner, given in a manner where people like us can understand it, begin to understand and practice it using our intelligence, our reason. So it is conducive to that kind of treatment from even ordinary minds like ours. And if we practice it well, our parampara also confers, at least, at the very least, Rinpoche said, this is Samdang Rinpoche Ji, he said, at least it confers the happiness of future lives. If we practice, causes are created for future life happiness. So this is something amazing, isn't it? And also, of course, it is conducive to Buddhahood, to complete Buddhahood for the sake of all beings. Yeah. So this is something very amazing. We are the beneficiaries of that parampara. Our teachers, so many of them that we have met, including the most kind late Kyabje Lama Zopa Rinpoche, these are all valid, realized holders of this lineage. Coming down from Shakyamuni Buddha, who in his kindness taught the Dharma. And we know how he almost didn't teach. He felt it was just too difficult for people to understand. But he was besieged by some high noble beings who convinced Lord Buddha that it would be beneficial. And so therefore he didn't, as he was originally thinking to do, go and retire in the forest. That it would be irksome, it would be irksome for him to teach and for people not to understand. So he would have gone into the forest. So that didn't happen, thank goodness. So whether we go by the Theravadan way of looking at it, that he was born a very noble being, but not yet a Buddha, and engaged in practices that led him to Buddhahood in that life, or whether we take the Mahayana and Vajrayana version, that he was already enlightened, and that he was simply manifested whatever he did for the sake of others. Yeah, please don't have your mobiles on. Have them on silent, please. So whichever way it was, it both ways can suit different kind of minds. Yeah. So what we have, the bottom line is that we have someone who was fully awakened and who revealed that to us and revealed a way to practice from A to Z. And not only that, but one might say that his avatars, his emanations, because a Buddha can have countless emanations in different realms, doing different things in different forms for different beings. Those emanations carry on the work of Shakyamuni Buddha. And not only that, there are countless billions of Buddhas actually throughout space. It's just that due to our ignorance, we don't have communication with most of them. We aren't tuned in. When we become high-level bodhisattvas, we can tune in to a continuous channel, if you like, of teachings from the Sambhogakaya, or complete enjoyment body aspect of the Buddha, the body of light, which teaches Mahayana Dharma continuously to bodhisattvas. We are not yet able to tune into that, but we can, due to the kindness of our teachers, tune into flesh and blood beings who teach us, and of course, unfortunately, who pass away. But we do have the privilege and the great good fortune to receive teachings while they're alive. And if we are intelligent, we imbibe what they have taught and we continue to practice what they taught, whether they are alive or not. And in fact, that's the advice all of the teachers have been giving, including His Holiness, when asked recently in Dharamsala by Lama Zopa Rinpoche's main disciple, the great Venerable Roger, what advice do you have for the students? Then His Holiness said, well, they just have to fulfill Lama Zopa Rinpoche's wishes, you know. And there were many levels of wishes, wishes in terms of running the centers, wishes in terms of building statues, of people doing retreats, mainly, of course, people practicing the Dharma, generating Bodhicitta, great compassion, Bodhicitta, realizing emptiness, people practicing and creating the causes for Buddhahood. So in a small way, that's our little contribution that we are aiming for tonight, to plant some seeds, some inspiration just by hearing the words of Lord Buddha, you know, even in passing, without even meditating much on them, but just hearing certain words which come from this parampara, you see, this divine source, using divine in a non-theistic sense, a very holy source, meaning a source that has generated wisdom and compassion. So just that is most beneficial, especially if our motivation is one of kindness and compassion. So let's generate that. Today we had many thoughts and we had many sounds and sights and we saw many people. And a lot of what we saw, if we reflect, we can use that to generate a sense of kindness, concern, and compassion for the sentient beings who are caught up in all manner of nonsense. Time-wasting activities, sometimes aimed at being kind of spiritual, but simply being a show and wasting time and not fulfilling the purpose of being human, the potential of being human. So, and then there's the animals. And if we've read the texts, we have heard about beings who, due to their karmic vision that they are experiencing visions of hunger and thirst continuously, like being in maybe what it's like now for many in South Sudan, except worse. Conflict, starvation, hunger, thirst, fear, continuously. And then, of course, also other parts of the world, not just Sudan. And then there's also the vision that we can have after a lifetime of anger and resentment and violence, and that is the vision of hell. I say vision because they don't last forever, and they are not real from their own side. We have created them with our actions and with our minds. That's why I'm calling it a vision. It's no less the real for that. this human life is a vision. What we're experiencing now is a vision. It's our projection. I mean, it's our projection because if a dog walks in the room, this is not what the dog experiences, right? Dog doesn't experience what we are experiencing. The dog has its own vision, its own perception. So anyway, if we think about these things, deep sorrow arises. So, I mean, I can't stand being hungry for 2 hours. So imagine beings who are hungry for a lifetime, due to their causes that have been created. It's beyond belief, isn't it, really? Or to be just full of anxiety, to have unbelievable, excruciating mental and physical pain, on and on and on, until the karma finishes. So this is what beings are experiencing, and even some human beings, I know some, perhaps you know some, unending problems, suffering, mental and physical. Problems from parents, problems from children, problems from whatever, problems from, left, right, and center. It's unbelievable what some people are experiencing. So anyway, you can do this, spend a few minutes motivating, allowing your heart to embrace all of the different beings who are going through unbelievable pain, sorrow, dukkha. First noble truth of suffering. And we are also suffering, each one of us. And if we don't stop the cycle of suffering now while we're human, then it's going to be a very long time before we have the chance again. Right now we have discernment, we have a functioning body and mind, we have the teachings, we have teachers, we have facilities, we have everything. We even have some time if we create it. So if we don't use it, then we're most foolish, most utterly foolish people, wasting precious human life on what animals can do as well, basically, just not as sophisticatedly. So Rinpoche was fond of that, telling us that most of our lifestyles are basically animal. And that's a waste of a human life. Rinpoche is very uncompromising on that. I'm speaking of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, whom we remember. So we spend time on the motivation, you see, because without motivation, it's just a ritual, isn't it? It's just, we're just reciting things and there's perhaps not much feeling. Doesn't touch us somehow. But when we realize, we're suffering, others are suffering. We've seen how some people are so anxious and upset, and especially in old age, some people become so neurotic and anxious and fearful. So do we want to be like that? Do we want to die like that? What kind of death is that? What kind of rebirth are we going to have if we die like that? All these things make us, can help to make us wake up a little bit now and again. So now we have this precious human life. We can achieve 4 amazing objectives. We can have happiness in this life, which actually is not so amazing. Many people achieve relative happiness in this life, one life. But we can then create causes for future happiness by having some degree of moral conduct, watching our karma, and creating positive actions through kindness and so forth. Then, if we really go deeper and develop wisdom based on a concentrated mind and even more sophisticated moral conduct, very, very precise, which creates the causes for deep concentration, deep attentional stability, then we can develop wisdom, which leads, as you know, to nirvana, personal freedom. So those 3, and then beyond that, if we really have courage and intelligence and have been motivated often through the inspiration of great teachers, then we can go on to developing the mind, cherishing all sentient beings, developing great compassion, seeing that just liberating one person, myself, from samsara is wonderful, but it's not that great because it's just one person, and others are limitless in number, just the insects in Padmani enclave, could we possibly count them? No. So they also have consciousness. They also have the potential to become Buddha in the future. So our responsibility is for all sentient beings, countless. So if we develop that kind of attitude, then that is extraordinary, but we are capable of that. Why? Because we have Buddha nature. It's not we don't have the capacity. Some people simply don't have the capacity with their present state of bodies that they inherited at birth, to run 100 meters in 9.9 seconds or something. But we all have the capacity at some point with this mind to become Buddha. So think, by engaging in these practices this evening, may it create the cause for us to become Buddha as quickly as possible through developing compassion, loving kindness, then the great sublime Bodhicitta, conjoined with attentional stability and wisdom realizing ultimate truth, emptiness. And imagine we are thinking in this way with Lord Buddha in front of us. And here, we have beautiful, we have Lord Maitreya Buddha and Shakyamuni Buddha, and we have Tara, and we have Manjushri, Avalokitesvara, Guru Rinpoche, Lama Tsongkhapa, and his 2 disciples. We have many holy beings represented on the altar. So in their presence, you see, and the presence of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas throughout space, and surrounded, feeling that we are surrounded, imagining we're surrounded by sentient beings, our mother, our father, friends, relations, neutral people, and some people we don't like so much. We make this aspiration in their presence, remembering their kindness. There's the kindness of sentient beings, and there's the kindness of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So before death strikes, how wonderful it is that we're able to practice together. Think like that, how wonderful it is. Great opportunity. Be grateful to every single person here, every single person online with us. Yeah, the 15 people online, and everybody who, you know, is contributing to this. Without them, we don't really get to practice much together. Group practice had to be very powerful because it's many minds and aspirations working together. Okay, we'll start with the Heart Sutra, which you should have in front of you. And it's the Heart Sutra plus a short practice at the end of it for removing obstacles, which is also practiced in the monasteries and nunneries and in our centers worldwide. So the Sutra of the Heart of the Perfection of Wisdom, Arya Bhagavati Prajnaparamitahridayasutra, which is the one of the shortest sutras in the Perfection of Wisdom tradition, the longest being 100,000 verses. You can see beautiful renderings of this on the sides of the circumambulation of the Bodhgaya Stupa, most beautifully put there by Thartang Tolku and the students. Yeah, did you get? So this is one of the shortest versions, although it can also be condensed to the one seed syllable ah. So remembering the necessity for wisdom, and that compassion alone is not sufficient for Buddhahood. Compassion alone not even sufficient for nirvana. Nirvana also we need the wisdom realizing emptiness, cutting through self-grasping ignorance. We will stop when we come to the mantra, recite that a few times out loud, and meditate briefly on whatever understanding we may have, however limited, on what we have been taught or heard on emptiness. At least we can remember that everything is relational. Nothing stands alone. Everything is a dependent arising, however much it appears to be from its own side somehow. Everything is powered somehow through a relational situation. Not only are things impermanent, changing moment by moment, millisecond by millisecond, but they are also cannot be, under analysis, they cannot be found from their own side. They are dependent on causes and conditions, on parts, and on the labeling thought, the labeling mind. Anyway, whatever understanding we have, we can reflect on that after we've recited the mantra 3 times. Those of you who've been to Rajgir can remember that extraordinary space there where the Buddha taught Heart Sutra to countless beings, countless ordinary beings, and to bodhisattvas, arhats and bodhisattvas. Okay. Homage to the noble goddess, the heart of the perfection of wisdom. Thus I've heard. At one time, the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajgir on Mass Vulture's mountain, together in one method with a great assembly of monks and a great assembly of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was absorbed in the concentration of the countless aspects of phenomena called profound illumination. At that time, also, the superior Avalokitesvara, the bodhisattva, the great being, was looking perfectly at the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, perfectly looking at the emptiness of inherent existence of the 5 aggregates also. Then, through the power of Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said to the superior Avalokitesvara, the bodhisattva, the great being, how should a child of the lineage train who wishes to engage in the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom? Thus he spoke, and the superior Avalokitesvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, replied to the venerable Shariputra as follows. Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of the lineage wishes to engage in the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom should look perfectly like this, subsequently looking perfectly and correctly at the emptiness of inherent existence of the five aggregates also. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form also is not other than emptiness. Likewise, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, like this, all phenomena are merely empty, having no characteristics. They are not produced and do not cease. They have no defilement, no separation from defilement. They have no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness. There's no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no tactile object, no phenomena. There is no eye element and so forth up to no mind element, and also up to no element of mental consciousness. There's no ignorance and no exhaustion of ignorance, and so forth up to no aging and death and no exhaustion of aging and death. Likewise, there is no suffering, origin, cessation, or path, no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there's no attainment, Bodhisattvas rely on and abide in the perfection of wisdom. Their minds have no obstructions and no fear. Passing utterly beyond perversity, they attain the final state beyond sorrow. Also, all the Buddhas who perfectly reside in the three times, perfectly relying upon the perfection of wisdom, become manifest and complete Buddhas in the state of unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, equal to the unequaled mantra, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, since it's not false, should be known as the truth. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is proclaimed. And we'll recite this and the tune that Lama Yeshe used to recite many years ago. Taya ta, gate gate, hara gate, hara samgate, Bodhisattva, Taya Gate, gate, hara gate, hara samgate, bodhisattva, thaya gate, gate, hara gate, hara samgate, gone beyond, gone completely beyond, awakened, so be it. Mm. So things depend on one another. Dependent arising. King of reasonings that brings us to understand emptiness. The person reciting the sutra, meditating, that is also dependent arising. There's no independent little person inside here somewhere from its own side, unrelated to countless other factors. But we think there is, and that's a hallucination. Beginningless hallucination, keeping us trapped in samsara since beginningless time. Okay, let's continue. Shariputra, a bodhisattva, a great being, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like this. Then the Blessed One arose from that concentration and said to the superior Avalokitesvara, the bodhisattva, the great being, that he had spoken well. Good, good, O child of the lineage. It's like that. Since it's like that, just as you reveal, the profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced in that way. And the Tathagats will also rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Shariputra, the superior Avalokitesvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, and that entire assembly of disciples, as well as the worldly beings, gods, humans, demigods, and spirits, were delighted and highly praised what had been spoken by the Blessed One. The noble heart of the perfection of wisdom sutra is complete. So this next short practice we'll do for auspiciousness. It's done to remove obstacles. Obstacles basically arise because we don't understand emptiness. We take things as very solid and real, and therefore, of course, they are more fearful, they are more problematic, you know. We get attached to them, or we hate them, or we're afraid of them because they seem so real. So this removes that. This practice is to remove obstacles or created well, through lack of understanding, lack of understanding emptiness. So it refers to some esoteric things. We don't need to go into the big explanation. There'll be a mantra recited 21 times. You can just listen because you've probably never recited it before. And after 3 of those lines in the second main para, there's a clap. We clap once. And as we clap, we imagine the obstacles being smashed, being dispelled, chased away, whatever they are, whatever the obstacles are for us and for this world. I prostrate to the gathering of Dakinis in the 3 chakras who abide in the holy yoga using space. By your powers of clairvoyance and magical emanation, look after practitioners like a mother her child. Akashamana Shashadara Samaraya Pe Tayata Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Soha. By the truth of the existence of the true jewel, may all inner and outer hindrances and adversities be overcome. May they become non-existent. May they be pacified. May they be completely pacified. May all negative forces opposed to the Dharma be completely pacified. May the host of 80,000 obstacles be pacified. May we be separated from all adverse conditions to Dharma. May we obtain all circumstances conducive to the Dharma. May there be auspiciousness, happiness, and well-being here, right now. Strongly feel all obstacles, adversities completely pacified. They were simply projections of our ignorant mind. At root, that's what they are. I think they are pacified. Yeah. Okay, now the sutra, remembering the three jewels. Very important to remember Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. This is the day of Buddha, but we remember that the Buddha taught the Dharma. It's the Dharma that saves us, and the Sangha who help us practice the Dharma. We're all Sangha here. We help each other practice. Without Sangha, it's very difficult. So the sutra, in very beautiful language, I feel, remembers the three jewels. So if you don't have it online, doesn't matter, just listen to the words. We'll try and recite it very clearly and loudly. In Sanskrit, Arya Ratnatraya Anusmriti Sutra. Homage to the omniscient one, purified and consummate, victorious, virtuous, and transcendent, thus gone, foe-destroying, entirely perfect Buddha, full of wisdom, blissfully proceeding, knower of the world, charioteer and subduer of beings, the unsurpassable, teacher of gods and men, such as Buddha, victorious, virtuous, transcendent. He who is thus gone exemplifies the merit which is his cause. In him no root of virtue is ever worn away. Through his manifold patience, he is exceedingly beautiful. He is the treasure ground of merit, adorned with the tokens of enlightenment. He is graced with the flowers of the marks of Buddhahood. All he does is seasonable and opportune, and nothing inharmonious mars the sight of him. True joy indeed he gives to those who open up their hearts to him in faith. Through the brilliance of his wisdom, he is unconfounded. Against his power, there is no victory. He is the teacher of all living beings, the father of all bodhisattvas, the king of all superior ones. He is the guide of those who journey city beyond affliction. His wisdom is unbounded, his assurance is beyond imagining. His speech is altogether pure, well-tuned, sweet to hear. Gazing on him, one is never sated. His body is beyond compare. By the realm of desire, he is unstained. By the realm of form, he is wholly uncontaminated. He is not mingled with the formless. He is altogether free from misery. From the aggregates, he is utterly and altogether free. The elements have no hold on him. He has mastery of the sense power. All bonds he has completely severed, and from all pain he is perfectly and totally released. No craving does he have, and he has passed beyond the stream. Perfect is his wisdom, and in the wisdom of the Buddhas, past and present and to come, he has made his dwelling. In nirvana, where all suffering is transcended, he does not abide. His abode is in the very summit of perfection, residing in that place where he perceives all living beings. Such are the sublime qualities that are the greatness of the Buddha, victorious, virtuous, and transcendent. The sacred doctrine is righteous in the outset, righteous in the middle, righteous in the end, in its meaning excellent, and in its words and syllables likewise. It is integral, unalloyed, all-sufficing, altogether pure and purifying. Well spoken is this Dharma by the victorious, virtuous, and transcendent. It is a perfect way of seeing, is devoid of ailment. It is perennial, leads us onward. To see this Dharma is to fulfill one's purpose. The wise will see in it their self-cognizing wisdom. The Dharma spoken by the victorious, virtuous, and transcendent is shown to be well-tempered to the instruction and the needs of all. It drives us from samsara and causes us to go to perfect Buddhahood. It is free from contradiction, and in it all is summarized. It is totally to be relied upon. It is a cutting of the root. The Sangha of the Mahayana comprises those who have well entered, wisely entered with straightforwardness and aptitude. Right it is to join our hands before them, and right to make prostration. They are the glorious field of merit. They are the perfect recipients of gifts. They are the object of offering. Everywhere and always, they are the worthy object of offering. Thus ends the Sublime Sutra of remembering the three jewels. On the backside of my copy, I wrote down some notes at some teachings last year in Chontra near Bir, where the Lama there said this, which seemed very appropriate. We can remember it as a little interlude between the recitation of texts. He said, sadness, compassion, and renunciation are the jewels of holy beings, the Arya's jewels. They don't arise spontaneously because we are up against the 8 worldly dharmas, the 8 worldly feelings. Renunciation is a very difficult mindset to accomplish. Read, therefore, the Namtar, the holy biographies of the holy beings, and make prayers to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Supplicate Tara and request blessings. Consider the causes and conditions for generating renunciation and practice them. Don't let sitting meditation become an empty custom. And then what I heard, and of course I didn't write down everything that was said by any means, that Bodhicitta isn't just kind-heartedness. Of course it is kind-heartedness, but it's much more than just being kind-hearted. Okay. Okay, the next is the hymn to the Buddha, the world transcendent, by Nagarjuna. 727. I hope we all have some time. Anyway, if you have to leave, you have to leave, but at least you heard some. Does everyone have a text? Does everyone have text? Yeah. We had 20 copies. I think it should be enough. Yes. Good, good. Thank you. Good. So you have the hymn to the Buddha, the world transcendent, by the great, supremely great Nagarjuna, whose picture is, used to be there, but it's here now. Nagarjuna, who revived, you could say, put great strength into the Mahayana and teachings on emptiness. A supreme being, whose main disciple was Aryadeva. And Nagarjuna, of course, wrote the root verses on the middle way, which are a mainstay of the curriculum in the monastic universities, with the commentary by Chandrakirti and others. Anyway, this is his homage to him to the Buddha, although he starts it with a homage to Manjushri, partly indicating how Nagarjuna mainly was helped to promote the wisdom teachings, the Prajnaparamitahridayasutra teachings. Okay. Homage to Manjushri. I bow to you, the world transcendent, who are versed in the kenosis of absence. For the benefit of the world, you've suffered long with great compassion. That apart from the mere aggregates, no sentient beings exists, you uphold. Yet, great sage, you continue to remain perfectly immersed in the welfare of beings. Wise one, you've declared to the intelligent ones that aggregates too are comparable to an illusion, a mirage, a city of Gandharva, and a dream. Those which originate from a cause, without that cause they do not exist. So why would you not uphold that clearly they're just like reflections? The 4 great elements are not perceptible to the eye. So how can entities be perceptible to the eye? Clearly rejecting the apprehension of matter itself, you speak of matter in this manner. Since without the felt there is no feeling, feeling itself is devoid of self. So you uphold that what is felt too is devoid of intrinsic existence. If a word and its referent are not different, the word fire would burn one's mouth. If they're different, there'll be no comprehension. This you, the speaker of truth, have stated. An agent is autonomous and his action too. This you've expressed conventionally. You uphold that they are established only in terms of mutual dependence. There exists no agent, no subject to, no merit exists. They arise through dependence. Though dependently arisen, they are unborn. So you proclaimed, O master of words. Without being known, it's not an object of knowledge. Without that, there is no consciousness as well. Therefore, the knower and the known possess no intrinsic reality, you've said. If the characteristic is different from the characterized would exist without the characteristic. You clearly stated also that neither exists if they're conceived of as non-different, devoid of characteristic and the characterized, and free from utterances of words. With your eyes of perfect gnosis, you bring tranquility to the beings. All existent thing does not arise, nor does a non-existent as well, nor does both, neither from itself, nor from another, nor from both. How can there be arising? Just one moment. I didn't realize this what this text was. I didn't even open it to check. Seeing the title, I thought it was a praise of Buddha in more conventional language. But this is a very difficult text. We'll continue reading it for the merit. Just hearing it, we'll be confused. So that'll make us want to study emptiness, and then we'll understand it. But yeah, it's very difficult. Okay, you need to go to Tibet House to understand it. Get teachings from Geshe-la on this, which he has taught. But we'll continue reading it and hope to get teachings on it in future. Okay, that's the motivation. If you understand it, fantastic. If you don't worry. Yeah, one day we will. It's logical for an existence to endure, not so for such a thing to disintegrate. Since it's logical for a non-existent not to endure, it cannot come to disintegrate. First of all, it's illogical for an effect to emerge from a cause that is itself destructive. It does not arise from an undestructive truth. You accept a dream-like arising. The emergence of effects from a cause through destruction or non-destruction, this origination is like the occurrence of an illusion. You taught that everything is likewise as well. Therefore, you fully understood this world to have emerged from ideation. And even when emerging, you've declared there is no arising and no disintegration. In permanence, there is no samsara. In impermanence, too, there is no samsara. You, Supreme Being, among those who realize suchness, you've declared samsara to be like a dream. Dialecticians assert that suffering is created by itself, created by another, by both self and another, or that they have no cause at all. You've stated it to be dependent origination. That which originates through dependence, this you maintain to be empty. That no independent entity exists, you, the peerless, proclaim in a lion's roar. Since you teach the ambrosia of emptiness to help abandon all conceptualization, he who clings to this emptiness, this you strongly condemn. Since they're inert, dependent, empty, like an illusion, arisen out of conditions, you've made it familiar to the world that all phenomena lack reality. There is nothing that you have brought forth. There is nothing that you have negated. You've comprehended that suchness, as it was before, so it is afterwards. Without entering the meditation as shown by the noble ones, can consciousness ever become signless? And without entering signlessness, there is no liberation, you've declared. So you presented this signlessness in its entirety in the great vehicle sutras. By praising you, a vessel worthy of praise, whatever merits I may have obtained, through this may all beings, without exception, become free from the bondage to signs. This concludes the hymn to the Buddha, the world transcendent, composed by Master Noble Nagarjuna. Please take a break, have some hot water or something, some biscuit to help continue for the next however long. Please, yeah, take a break, stretch your legs, answer your messages. Onliners, oh great, you had that text, well done, thank you. That's good. So that was very difficult, but as we said, hopefully it will interest us to we are not going to recite in praise. No, well, anyway, we won't recite in praise of dependent origination. We'll consider we've done that with the last verse. What we will do next is the extraordinary. After our break, we'll just do the extraordinary Samantabhadra prayer called the King of Prayers. The King of Prayers, which is the first prayer in this booklet, 8 Prayers to Benefit the Dead. The extraordinary aspiration of the practice of Samantabhadra. That's what we'll do after the break. And apparently it's good to recite prayers to Samantabhadra during lunar eclipses, which are also about to happen. Well, not yet, but it's coming up to a lunar eclipse somewhere in the world, about 9 p.m. So it's good we recite this at this time. It's specific, apparently, for some reason, for these kind of conditions. Lunar eclipses are, of course, inherently not good or bad, but because we are dependently connected with the cosmos, the solar system, eclipses can have a deleterious effect, it is said, on on our consciousness, on the environment of the world, whatever the energy package, which is this world and the living beings in it. So reciting auspicious prayers at this time is a good thing. One biscuit here, please. Whoever wants, please have. Good to see you. Sweets. Huh? Sweets, baad mein khayenge. For those who have the merit. Kaise ho? Yes? Yeah? How's your back? Kidney? दिखाओ ये तो नहीं चल रहा.
Everything is knowledge.
Before also you had a kidney issue.
Never.
तो दिखाओ यार कुछ कराओ.
Guess advice. Some guests have advice.
Yes. Like diet.
Go for MRI.
And please go for a good diet and all that.
Yeah, tomorrow I go for MRI. There is some growth on top of everything.
On the adrenal. That's caused by a lot of overwork and stress. The adrenals. Yeah.
That is what I'm repeating.
It is, yeah. Yeah. Take a sabbatical. Take a sabbatical. You need the money.
Children are in learning.
Children.
My way.
Yeah. Yeah.
You rightly said that
Huh?
maybe it could be because of stress.
Yeah, of course it is. Most modern diseases are speed and stress. Neglecting ourselves. Not. In the old days, imagine a world without electricity. Already slowed down like 1,000%, right? हम लोग तो पागल जैसे घूम रहे हैं, लट्टू जैसे. Sending people halfway across the world to study. अपने गुरुकुल तो खत्म हो गए. अमेरिका भेज रहे हैं ताकि हम लोग भी अमेरिकी जैसे बन जाएं. क्या फायदा? दुनिया का तबाह हो रहा है.
And people come for knowledge to India.
Huh?
And people come for knowledge to India.
Knowledge.
Getting knowledge to India, spiritual knowledge.
Yeah.
Buddha discovered truth, relativity.
So they say.
2,500 years ago, and scientists spent billions of dollars to understand the theory of relativity.
Really?
Yeah, that's what Geshe said. And but scientists spent billions of dollars to understand the theory of relativity.
Yeah.
And Buddha, this meditations.
Yeah.
Discovered it, not invented. So,
Okay, 2 minutes left of this break. चबा के खाना अभी. हाँ. चबा के खाइए. It's fascinating, isn't it, that catering department?
something delicious.
Uh-huh. असली माल तो ऑल्टर पे है, मत खाओ ज्यादा वहां पीछे. One minute. Sorry, folks. People are having a cluster feed at the back. You hear all these new words on Netflix. Some are very bad. Some are very bad words, which I'd never heard of. And even people in the White House talk like that, apparently, if the serials are to be believed. It's dreadful.
It's very interesting, Kabirji.
Ah, what is?
We just read.
Interesting. That's
Yeah.
one way to describe it.
I mean, I don't understand it fully.
Yeah, Buddhism is interesting. Almost like the Chinese curse, you know. We live in interesting times. May you study Buddhism. 25 years later, still don't get it. But it's worth trying. Haji? Huh? Some say so. Some say he could be connected because you see, the Tibetans reckon he had a very long life, like hundreds and hundreds of years, because he was an alchemist as well. So he may have had the means to prolong his life. So, of course, modern scholars wouldn't accept that. But yeah, he could have. And being a great bodhisattva, you see, according to Mahayana, he could have, hold on a sec, I haven't finished answering your first question. According to Mahayana, he could have hundreds of emanations, hundreds of people who are basically Nagarjuna, but not holding that same name. You see? So he could be Bodhidharma, he could be George V, he could be many things. Queen Victoria. Some people think Queen Victoria was a great bodhisattva. Who knows? Who knows? I know. Okay, we're starting now. Ready, everyone? Save your second question for the end. Take enough. Yeah, can you wait? Good. Right. Are we all ready for King of Prayers? This is an extraordinary prayer. We actually, I mean, it's mind-blowing. If you actually, this is really interesting. Bits of this prayer are very interesting. And the whole aspiration of this prayer is something extraordinary. The reason why it's in this booklet called 8 Prayers to Benefit the Dead is because the incredible merit accumulated by reciting such a prayer, if dedicated to someone who has died, is said to be incredibly beneficial, especially if it's recited A, by people karmically connected, or relations, friends of that person who died, or students in the case of a teacher. Not that Rinpoche needs these prayers, but we need the prayers to keep the connection going with the Lama and for them to return. And also, if people who are pure morality recite these prayers for anybody, it is very powerful. So I remember, if people die and you have some time and inclination, please recite these kind of prayers, especially King of Prayers. You will get some feeling from reciting it, why it is so amazing. I mean, just the thoughts, the aspirations are extraordinary, right? So reciting it is very good. And the fact we can recite it together without having dropped down dead yet is amazing. There are very few beings who have read this prayer. Did someone fall down? Right, someone was dropping. Okay, King of Prayers. Thanks, it's online as well. Thank you very much. Thank you, folks who are still there. Yeah. How many people are online? I can't.
14 now. I think we had like 20 earlier.
Okay, good. Anyway, great. So remember, Samantabhadra is one of the so-called 8 great bodhisattvas, of which are also Avalokitesvara, Vajrapani, Manjushri, and Maitreya are also part of that 8. Akash Garbha, and Nivarana, Shikambini, various 8 great Kshitigarbha, 8 great bodhisattvas, stroke Buddhas. So he had this extraordinary ability to aspire in a marvelous way, and we often speak of Samantabhadra clouds of offerings. So, we have offerings on the altar and so forth, and all very nice. But what we can imagine in our mind mentally is even greater, of course. So Samantabhadra was famous for his imaginative offerings, which, of course, being a great bodhisattva, could also manifest as objects to be enjoyed by people, as well as Buddhas. Okay, so with, again, remembering our motivation to benefit the kind mother sentient beings who are in a state of great disarray and sadness and bereft of hope, often bereft of guiding lights, bereft of meaning in their lives. How tragic, yeah, to be bereft of meaning when so many people need help, and to feel that life is meaningless. That's awful, isn't it? But it happens. Due to karma ripening, we can be completely stuck. You're completely stuck. So may all the beings that we can't see, who may be hearing us reciting, may they be benefited, and may everyone connected with us, relations, friends, so forth, those who have just died or are sick, may they all be benefited. And may it create the cause also for Mahayana gurus to lead us, and to for Shabjalama Rinpoche to be swiftly reborn and continue teaching Mahayana and Vajrayana to us. King of prayers, the extraordinary aspiration of the practice of Samantabhadra, I bow down to the youthful Arya Manjushri, you lions among humans, gone to freedom in the present, past, and future, in the worlds of 10 directions. To all of you with body, speech, and sincere mind, I bow down. With the energy of aspiration for the Bodhisattva way, with a sense of deep respect, and with as many bodies as atoms of the world, to all you Buddhas visualized as real, I bow down. On every atom are Buddhas, numberless as atoms, each amidst a host of bodhisattvas, and I'm confident the sphere of all phenomena is entirely filled with Buddhas in this way, with infinite oceans of praise for you, and oceans of sound from the aspects of my voice. I sing the breathtaking excellence of Buddha, and celebrate all of you gone to bliss. Beautiful flowers, regal garlands, sweet oil, scented oils and parasols, sparkling lights, sublime incense, I offer to you, victorious ones. Fine dress, fragrant perfume, sandalwood powder heaped high as Mount Meru, all wondrous offerings in spectacular array, I offer to you, victorious ones, with transcendent offerings fearless and vast, with profound admiration for all the Buddhas, strength of conviction in the Bodhisattva way, I offer and bow down to all victorious ones. Every harmful action I've done, my body, speech, and mind, overwhelmed by attachment, anger, and confusion, all these I openly lay bare before you. I lift up my heart and rejoice in all positive potential of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in 10 directions, of solitary realizers here are still training and those beyond, and of all ordinary beings. We stop here to rejoice for a while. This is Rinpoche's instruction. First of all, remembering your own good actions. Really be happy. And give yourself a pat on the back. Say, well done. How wonderful it is. Wonderful it is. And then remember your friends and the holy beings. Those attaining nirvana, those practicing bodhicitta. Rejoice in all of it. How wonderful it is. Rejoice in the deeds of Shakyamuni Buddha. Amazing. Being born in the Shakya clan. Achieving what he had to in the palace. And then leaving out of great passion for sentient beings. Living a life of an ascetic. Undergoing hardships for 6 years. Attaining enlightenment on the Bodhi tree. And then teaching for 50 years or so, and then demonstrating impermanence at Kushinagar, passing away, having completely given the Dharma, whatever we need to get in, to be awakened, he gave everything that was necessary. How wonderful it is. And the Buddha energy continues to manifest continuously through the Sambhogakaya, the body of light we mentioned, that teaches higher beings continuously, and through the inspiration of the body of truth, the Dharmakaya, the absolute Guru. Think how wonderful it is. And then our teachers who have embodied the Buddha energy and who have been Buddhas, even kinder than the Buddha for us. We missed out on Shakyamuni Buddha and the previous Buddha. Maitreya hasn't come yet. We depend on the living Buddhas, our teachers. All their activities, how wonderful it is. Okay. You are the bright lights of worlds in 10 directions who have attained the Buddha's omniscience through the stages of awakening. All you who are my guides, please turn the supreme wheel of Dharma. With palms together, I earnestly request you who may actualize Paranirvana, please stay with us for eons numberless as atoms of the world, for the happiness and well-being of all wanderers in samsara. Whatever slight positive potential I may have created by paying homage, offering and acknowledging my faults, rejoicing and requesting the Buddha stay and teach, I now dedicate all this for full awakening. May you Buddhas now living in the worlds of 10 directions, all you gone to freedom in the past, accept my offerings. May those not yet arisen quickly perfect their minds, awakening as fully enlightened ones. May all worlds in 10 directions be entirely pure and vast. May they be filled with bodhisattvas, surrounding Buddhas gathered beneath the Bodhi tree. May as many beings as exist in 10 directions be always well and happy. May all samsaric beings live in accord with the Dharma. May their every Dharma wish be fulfilled. Remembering my past lives in all varieties of existence, may I practice the Bodhisattva way, and thus in each cycle of death, migration, and birth, may I always abandon the householder's life. Then, following in the footsteps of all the Buddhas, perfecting the practice of a Bodhisattva, may I always act without error or compromise, with ethical discipline, faultless and pure. May I teach the Dharma in the language of gods, in every language of spirits and nagas, of humans and demons, and in the voice of every form of being. May I be gentle-minded, cultivating the 6 paramitas. Never forget Bodhicitta. May I completely cleanse without omission every negativity and all that obscures this awakening mind. May I traverse all my life in the world, free of karma, afflictions, and interfering forces, just as the lotus blossom is undisturbed by the water's wave, just as the sun and moon move unhindered through the sky. May I ease the suffering in the lower realms and in the many directions and dimensions of the universe. May I guide all wanderers in samsara to the pure bliss of awakening and be of worldly benefit to them as well. May I practice constantly for eons to come, perfecting the activities of awakening, acting in harmony with the various dispositions of beings, showing the ways of a bodhisattva. May I always have the friendship of those whose path is like mine, and with body, words, and also mind, may we practice together the same aspirations and activities. May I always meet a spiritual mentor and never displease that excellent friend who deeply wishes to help me and expertly teaches the Bodhisattva way. May I always directly see the Buddhas, masters encircled by Bodhisattvas, without pause or discouragement for eons to come. May I make extensive offerings to them. May I hold within me the Buddha's genuine Dharma, illuminate everywhere the teachings that awaken, embody the realizations of a Bodhisattva, practice ardently in all future eons, while circling through all states of existence. May I become an endless treasure of good qualities, skillful means, wisdom, samadhi, liberating stabilization, gathering limitless, pristine wisdom and positive potential. On one atom, I shall see Buddha fields numberless as atoms, inconceivable Buddhas among Bodhisattvas in every field, practicing the activities of awakening. Perceiving this in all directions, I dive into an ocean of Buddha fields, each an ocean of 3 times Buddhas in the space of a wisp of hair. So I too will practice for an ocean of eons. Thus I am continually immersed in the speech of the Buddhas, the expression that reveals an ocean of qualities in one word, completely pure eloquence of all the Buddhas, communication suited the various tendencies of beings. With strength of understanding, I plunge into the infinite enlightened speech of the Dharma of all Buddhas in 3 times gone to freedom, who continually turn the wheel of Dharma methods. I shall experience in one moment such vast activity of all future eons, and I will enter into all eons of the 3 times, in but a fraction of a second. In one instant, I shall see all those awakened beings, past, present, and future lions among humans, and with the power of the illusion-like stabilization, I will constantly engage in their inconceivable activity. I shall manifest upon one single atom the array of pure lands, present, past, and future. Likewise, I shall enter the array of pure Buddha fields in every direction without exception. I shall enter the very presence of all my guides, those lights of this world who are yet to appear, those sequentially turning the wheels of complete awakening, those who reveal nirvana, final perfect peace. May I achieve the power of swift magical emanation, the power to lead to the great vehicle through every approach, the power of always beneficial activity, the power of love pervading all realms, the power of all surpassing positive potential, the power of supreme knowledge unobstructed by discrimination, and through the powers of wisdom, skillful means, and samadhi, may I achieve the perfect power of awakening, purifying the power of all contaminated actions, crushing the power of disturbing emotions at their root, diffusing the power of interfering forces. I shall perfect the power of the Bodhisattva practice. May I purify an ocean of worlds. May I free an ocean of beings. May I clearly see an ocean of dharma. May I realize an ocean of pristine wisdom. May I purify an ocean of activities. May I fulfill an ocean of aspirations. May I make offerings to an ocean of Buddhas. May I practice without discouragement for an ocean of eons. To awaken fully through this Bodhisattva way, I shall fulfill without exception all the diverse aspirations of the awakeness practice of all Buddhas gone to freedom in the three times everywhere. In order to practice exactly as the wise one called Samantabhadra, all embracing good, the elder brother of the sons and daughters of the Buddhas, I completely dedicate all this goodness. Likewise, may I dedicate just to the skillful Samantabhadra with pure body, speech, and mind, pure actions, and pure Buddha field. I shall give rise to the aspirations of Manjushri for this Bodhisattva practice of all embracing good, to perfect these practices without discouragement or pause in all future eons. May my pure activities be endless, my good qualities boundless, and through abiding in immeasurable activity, may I actualize infinite emanations. Limitless is the end of space, likewise limitless are living beings, thus limitless are karma and afflictions. May my aspirations reach be limitless as well. One may offer to the Buddhas all wealth and adornments of infinite worlds in 10 directions. One may offer during eons numberless as atoms the world, even the greatest happiness of gods and humans. But whoever hears this extraordinary aspiration and longing for highest awakening gives rise to faith just once, creates far more precious positive potential. Those who make this heartfelt aspiration for the Bodhisattva way will be free of all lower rebirths, free of harmful companions, and will quickly see Amitabha, infinite light. And even in this very life, they'll be nourished by happiness and have all conducive circumstances. Without waiting long, they will become like Samantabhadra himself. Those who give voice to this extraordinary aspiration will quickly and completely purify the 5 boundless harmful actions created under the power of ignorance. Blessed with supreme knowledge, excellent body, family, attributes, and appearance, they'll be invincible to vast interfering forces and misleading teachers, and all the 3 worlds will make offerings. Going quickly to the noble Bodhi tree, sitting there to benefit sentient beings, subduing all interfering forces, they will fully awaken and turn the great wheel of Dharma. Have no doubt that complete awakening is the fully ripened result, comprehended only by a Buddha, of holding in mind by teaching, reading, or reciting this aspiration of the Bodhisattva practice, in order to train just like the hero Manjushri, who knows reality as it is, and just like Samantabhadra as well. I completely dedicate all this goodness just as they did, with that dedication which is praised as greatest by all the Buddhas gone to freedom in the 3 times. I too dedicate all my roots of goodness to the attainments of the Bodhisattva practice. When the moment of my death arrives, by eliminating all obscurations and directly perceiving Amitabha, may I go immediately to Sukhavati, pure land of great joy. Having gone to Sukhavati, may I actualize the meaning of these aspirations, fulfilling them all without exception for the benefit of beings for as long as this world endures. Born from an extremely beautiful superlative lotus, in this joyful land, the Buddha's magnificent mandala, may I receive a prediction of my awakening directly from the Buddha Amitabha. Having received a prediction there, may I create vast benefit for beings throughout the 10 directions with 1 billion emanations by the power of wisdom, through even the small virtue I've accumulated by offering this prayer of the Bodhisattva practice. May all the positive aspirations of beings be fulfilled in an instant, through creating limitless positive potential by dedicating this prayer of Samantabhadra's deeds. May all beings drowning in this torrent of suffering enter the presence of Amitabha. through this king of aspirations, which is the greatest of the sublime, helping infinite wanderers in samsara, through the accomplishment of this scripture, dazzling with Samantabhadra's practice, may suffering realms be utterly emptied of all being. Spend a few moments rejoicing that we practice such a sublime prayer together, and dedicating that we actualize the meaning of the prayer in practice. If we were to fulfill that, then we would fulfill the purpose of being human. We would fulfill all of the wishes that the sublime beings have for us. There would be nothing left to do. We would have accomplished what we need to do to benefit others. And then that activity would continue spontaneously till samsara ends. While we have this booklet, let's recite just 3 times the prayer to Maitreya Buddha, page 44. Sorry, you may not have it online unless you have, I don't know if you have the 8 prayers to benefit the dead, page 44, the Maitreya mantra. So Maitreya is the future Buddha. It's good to make prayers to a connection with the future Buddha, so that if we're not enlightened before he comes, we become connected with the future world teacher. Of course, there are Buddhas, countless Buddhas all the time, but he'll be the next kind of world teacher, like Shakyamuni Buddha, who was a world teacher who came and taught to so many, and whose dharma became disseminated. So will be Maitreya. Some distant time in the future, but still, it's all relative. So we can pray like that. Also, could we please dedicate, as we recite the mantras, for the Maitreya project, which is at a critical stage, the one in Kushinagar, which unfortunately we could not complete before Lama Zopa Rinpoche passed away. But we hope to complete it so we can show it to his incarnation within whatever, not a very great, in a short period of time. We hope to complete this work in Kushinagar, where Lord Buddha passed away. So this project, Rinpoche said, we have to pray that it benefits countless sentient beings. And the visualization Rinpoche gave once to all of us in the Maitreya project staff was that we should visualize much light and nectar coming from Maitreya's heart. So here we have a good Maitreya statue. You can imagine well Maitreya, but in the nature of light and nectar coming from his heart, going out into all directions, hooking back whatever is needed from space, from the universe, from other Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, whatever is needed for the greatest success of this project, and Rinpoche emphasized, for the project to be most beneficial for sentient beings, most beneficial for sentient beings in all manner of ways. Yeah. So through the building of the statue, through the school, through the clinic, through all of the activities Rinpoche envisioned for this project, may it happen exactly as Rinpoche wished, and may the beings helping the project right now be supremely successful in the next few months in achieving what they need, which is very important for this project to take off. This has been Rinpoche and Lama Yeshe's heart project. Even when Lama Yeshe was in Tibet, he thought of having a Maitreya statue to ripen the minds of sentient beings. And Rinpoche courageously took on this work after Lama Yeshe passed away in 1984. So please, heartfelt manner, pray for this to happen very quickly within our lifetimes, much quicker. So we go through these 3 mantras 3 times. Those who can maintain that kind of visualization of light going out, hooking back people, resources, money, whatever is needed, you see, to help actualize this amazing project. Oh, Namo Ratnatrayā, Namo Bhagavate Shakyamunaya, Tathagataya, Arhate Samyak Sambuddhaya, Toyota Om Ajite, Ajite, Aparajite, Achitanjaya Hara Hara Maitri, Avalokite, Kara Kara Maha Samaya Siddhi Bara Bara Mahabodhi Mandabe, Smara Smara Atmakam Samaya Bodhi Bodhi Mahabodhi Soha, Oh Mohi Mohi Maha Mohi Soha. Oh, Muni, Muni, Smara, Soha. Namo Ratnatrayā, Namo Bhagavate Shakyamunaya, Tathagataya, Arhate Samyak Sambuddhaya, Toyota Om Ajite, Ajite, Aparajite, Achitanjaya, Hara Hara Maitri, Avalokite, Kara Kara Maha Samaya Siddhi Bara Bara, Mahabodhi Menda Bijat Maras Mara Atmakam Samaya, Bodhi Bodhi Maha Bodhi Soha. Oh Moi Moi Maha Moi Soha. Oh Muni Muni Smara Soha. Namo Ratnatrayā, Namo Bhagavate Shakyamunaya, Tathagataya, Arahate Samyak Sambuddhaya, Tayata Om Ajite, Ajite, Aparajite, Achitanjaya Hara Hara Maitri, Avalokite, Kara Kara Maha Samaya Siddhi Bara Bara, Mahabodhi Menda Bijat Maratma, Atmakam Samaya Bodhi Bodhi Mahabodhi Soha. Oh Mohi Mohi Maha Mohi Soha. Oh Muni Muni Smara Soha. Visualize, imagine this actually happening. Everything needed for this project to be actualized, being hooked and put in place for the greatest benefit of the greatest number of living beings. From the farmers, Kushinagar, to all the realms of samsara, all the people of the world. Okay, so now 10 past 8, so we'll just recite the chapter 4 of the Exalted, Sublime, Golden Light Sutra, a sutra which is highly recommended to recite by Lama Zopa Rinpoche. We can read the advice briefly. As you open the text, there should be advice just as you open the text next to the cover page. So first, generate the motivation again. I must free all my kind mother sentient beings from the oceans of samsaric suffering, bring them to full enlightenment by myself alone, if necessary. Therefore, I'm going to recite this sutra. Dedicate for world peace, long life, perfect health for our gurus, and for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. For the success of all the Dharma centers, projects in general, your own success to actualize all the realization of the path to enlightenment as quickly as possible, in order to be of greatest benefit to others. Then we'll be reciting this mantra a bit later. Visualize Guru Shakyamuni Buddha, numberless Buddhas around us in space, as well as all the sentient, suffering sentient beings of the 6 realms. So recite this prayer now before teaching. It's as though we are teaching this to others. Gods, demigods, humans, please recite. Evil spirits and mighty ones, Indra and others who are a support to the side of the Dharma, I'm teaching all of you. The Buddha's teaching thoroughly pacifies suffering, is the source of all peace and happiness. Please come here for the sake of listening to the holy Dharma. in the languages of gods, nagas, yakshas, spirits, varieties of human beings, as well as in all forms of communication with living beings. In all languages, I reveal the Dharma. So as we recite, we should make some sound. You know, you may not have the energy to recite it all, but make some sound under your breath as you recite. Imagine three things. One, Buddha is giving you the teaching, okay? And you understand the meaning of the words. And three, imagine you are giving this teaching to all the sentient beings who hear it. Many beings are clairvoyant, they know what's going on, they can understand English, even though they're not British or Indian. So they understand, and they understand our intention, many beings, so they benefit. Yeah. The King of Glorious Sutra is called Exalted, Sublime, Golden Light, Mahayana Sutra. Arya Suvarna Prabha Sutoma Sutendra Raja Mahayana Sutra. Recite this mantra, Om Dhare Dhare Bendare Swaha. 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 So through something that I don't understand yet, these kind of mantras can magnify the merit many times, million times, whatever. Obviously something to do with the energetic vibration of the holy syllables of the Sanskrit. Okay, chapter 4. We go straight to this chapter because it's a very sublime purification chapter. It has many things in it. But actually before that, chapter 3. In our version, page 21, chapter 3 of the Sutra. Yeah, we have it there, I think. Yes. If it can be put, I think, Nivita, you have it, no? Thank you. Yeah. Chapter 3, the chapter on seeing the dream. So, of course, if you can read the whole sutra someday, you'll find it fascinating if you have a few hours. Or you can read it in bits and pieces. Amazing, amazing. Yeah. So this one on seeing the dream, someone should make an animation on this or a movie. Yeah, sound good? Put something together on this, can benefit so many people. Chapter on seeing the dream. Then the Bodhisattva Rutsaraketu slid into sleep. He dreamt he saw a golden drum, its light shining like the orb of the sun. In every direction, countless inconceivable numbers of Tathagats were preaching the Dharma, seated on lavish thrones at the foot of the oak trees, completely surrounded by numerous hundreds of thousands of retinues. Then he saw a being in the form of a Brahmin beating that drum. From the sound of the drum, these and similar confessional verses issued forth. Then the Bodhisattva Rudraketu awoke and remembered those verses at once. Having remembered those verses, when night came to an end, he, along with many thousands of beings, left the great city of Rajgir. He arrived at Vulture's Peak, where the Tathagat was. Having reached there, he prostrated himself at the feet of the Tathagat. So commanded the Tathagat 3 times, sat to one side. Sitting to one side, the Bodhisattva Rudraketu bowed to the Tathagat with hands folded in respect and recited those confessional verses he heard coming forth from the drum. This ends the 3rd chapter, the chapter on seeing the dream from the King of Glorious Sutras, Sublime Golden Light. Chapter 4, chapter on confession. One night without distraction, I dreamt a vivid dream. I saw a large and beautiful drum filling the world with golden light and glowing like the sun, beaming brightly to all places. It was seen from 10 directions. Everywhere Buddhas were seated on thrones of precious lapis at the foot of the old trees, facing assemblies of many hundreds of thousands. I saw a form like that of a Brahmin fiercely beat upon the drum. When he struck it, these verses issued forth. By the sound of this majestic drum of golden light, may the suffering of lower migration, yama, and the poverty of the 3 realms of the 1,000 worlds cease to be. By the sound of this majestic drum, may the ignorance of the world be dispelled, with fears quelled, just as vanquishing sages are unafraid. May sentient beings become fearless and brave, just as the omniscient vanquishing sage in the world is possessed of every excellence of the Aryats. May countless beings too possess oceans of qualities, concentration, and the wings of enlightenment. By the sound of this majestic drum, may all beings be endowed with the melody of Brahma. May they touch the sublime enlightenment of Buddha. May they turn the virtuous wheel to the Dharma, remaining for inconceivable eons. May they teach the Dharma to guide migrating beings, conquering delusion, overcoming affliction. May their attachment, hatred, ignorance be pacified. May sentient beings who have fallen to a lower migration, whose bodies are born or alight with blazing flame, Hear the speech of this majestic drum. May the proclamation, homage to the Tathagat, be heard in the course of hundreds of births, tens of thousands of millions of births. May every being remember their former lives, hear these teachings completely, and always recall the vanquishing sages. By the sound of this majestic drum, may beings always find the company of Buddhas, thoroughly renouncing every harmful act. May they engage in only virtuous deeds. For humans, gods, and all creatures, whatever thoughts and wishes they have, may their every wish be totally fulfilled by the sound of this majestic drum. For beings born in the most terrible hells, bodies alight with blazing flame, who wander without aim, bereft of refuge, filled with grief, may tormenting fires utterly end. For those who bear the suffering of humans, the hell beings, animals, and hungry ghosts, may every suffering be completely dispelled by the sound of this majestic drum. For those who are without refuge, without base, support, or friend, may I become their supreme refuge, their base, their support, and friend, supreme among bipeds, O Buddha, dwelling in worlds of 10 directions, with merciful, compassionate mind. Please pay attention to me, O Buddhas possessed of the 10 paths. Those terrible wicked acts I've committed in the past, before your eyes I confess them all. Whatever unwholesome deeds I've done, not holding parents as parents, not holding Buddhas as Buddhas, not holding virtuous deeds, whatever unwholesome deeds I've done, haughty with the vanity of wealth, haughty with age and youthfulness, haughty with pride of affluence and clout, whatever unwholesome deeds I've done, through harmful thoughts, harmful words, thought of harm as harmless, harmful actions done, whatever unwholesome deeds I've done, acting with the mind of a child, the mind dark with ignorance, or under the sway of an unvirtuous friend, greatly charged with emotion, discontent with wealth, afflicted with depression and malaise, or under the impulse of frivolous play, whatever unwholesome deeds I've done, through mixing with vile characters of non-Arya, through jealousy and miserliness, through poverty and guile, whatever unwholesome deeds I've done, when poverty came to me, feeling loss of the desirable, stricken with the dearth of material goods, whatever unwholesome deeds I've done under the power of a flighty mind, ruled by desire and hatred, or oppressed by hunger and thirst, whatever unwholesome deeds I've done, when oppressed by affliction, for the sake of pursuing women, or acquiring food, drink, and attire, through misdeeds of body, speech, and mind, I've amassed threefold wrong acts. In these 3 ways, whatever I've done, these deeds I confess in full. Whatever I've done, disrespecting Buddhas, Dharma, and Shravakas too, these deeds I confess in full. Actions I've done, lacking respect to Prateka Buddha, as well as to Bodhisattvas, these deeds I confess in full. Disrespect I've shown to those who preach the Dharma, likewise contempt of the Dharma itself, these deeds I confess in full. Continually unaware of its benefit, I've rejected the sublime Dharma, I've shown unwitting insolence to parents, these deeds I confess in full. Childish and veiled by stupidity, blind with desire and hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and pride, these deeds I confess in full. Honoring those who possess 10 powers, I shall worship those dwelling in all directions. I shall deliver sentient beings inhabiting every realm from all suffering. I shall place uncountable beings upon the Bodhisattva's 10 grounds. Abiding in these 10 stages, may they all become Tathagats, until I become capable of freeing them all from countless oceans of suffering. For 10 million eons, I shall strive for the sake of even one sentient being. To these sentient beings, I shall reveal this sutra called Sublime Golden Light, which rids one of every harmful misdeed and expounds upon the profound. Those who for 1,000 eons committed deadly unwholesome deeds, by confessing them earnestly once with the sutra, all will be purified, swiftly and wholly consuming all karmic obstruction. By making confession through Sublime Golden Light, I shall abide on the 10 Bodhisattva ground, those minds of supreme precious jewels, that I may shine with the Tathagats' marks and signs, and free beings from the ocean of existence. Through Buddhas who are the water of oceans, their inconceivable Tathagats qualities akin to the ocean's profound depth, I shall evolve into an omniscient being. Becoming a Buddha, I shall possess 10 powers, hundreds of thousands of concentration, inconceivable magical mantra incantation, enlightenment, 7 wings, the 5 powers and 5 forces. O Buddhas who continually look upon me, I request you to gaze intently upon me, your compassionate minds always overflowing. May you hold the remorseful always near. Due to countless sinful actions performed in hundreds of eons past, my mind is pierced and stricken with grief, wretchedness, sorrow, fear, solely fearing unwholesome deeds. I shall always keep my mind modest. Wherever I commit the smallest action, I will not succumb to frivolous excitement. Since Buddhas are compassionate and dispel the fright of all beings, I entreat them to hold a remorseful fast, free us from every fear. May the Tathagats keep at bay my negative karma and emotion. May the Buddhas always bathe me with the water of their compassion. I confess all unwholesome deeds, whatever I've done in the past, whatever is done in the present. These deeds I confess in full. I shall not conceal or hide harmful actions I've done. Future times I shall refrain from deeds that render me full of shame. 3 actions of the body, 4-fold of the voice, 3-fold of the mind, These deeds I confess in full. Actions I've done through body and speech, clearly impelled by the mind. These tenfold actions I accomplish. These deeds I confess in full, renouncing the 10 unwholesome deeds, cultivating those 10 which are moral. I will come to abide on the 10 grounds and acquire the Bodhisattva and 10 great paths. Every unwholesome deed I've done leads to unwanted results. In the presence of Buddhas, these deeds I confess in full. The unwholesome virtuous deeds of all those dwelling in Jambit and all those living in other worlds too. In these deeds I rejoice. Spend a few moments rejoicing in the good deeds you've done and all the beings do. How wonderful it is, how wonderful it is. Like reciting the Sutra, for example. How wonderful it is. Likewise, whatever merit I've gathered through body, speech, and mind, by the force of this virtue's ripening effect, may supreme enlightenment be attained. Deeds committed on samsara's precarious wheel, as actions influenced by a childish mind, approaching the presence of the fearless 10 powers. All these deeds I confess individually through feeble birth, feeble existence, feeble world, feeble volatile mind, multitudes of physical actions. This mass of evil deeds I confess in full, wretched with the delusion of childish and foolish, wretched through association with non-virtuous friends, wretched with existence, wretched with desire, wretched with hatred, wretched with ignorance, wretched with fatigue, wretched with time, wretched in accomplishing virtue. I approach the incomparable conquerors and confess all negative deeds individually. I prostrate to the Buddha's oceans of virtue, golden like Mount Sumeru. Going for refuge, I bow my head in prostration to the golden conqueror. Their compassionate light dispels the double mantle of darkness. Buddhas are suns, blazing glory, splendor, and renown. Golden in color, eyes fine and beautiful, his lapis they glow with the glitter of your gold. Their exquisite and beautiful limbs are utterly flawless, perfectly formed. From pristine limbs, the Buddha's brilliant shafts of golden light, consumed by the flame of negative passion. Sentient beings blaze like fire. They are refreshed and soothed by the moonlike light of Buddha. 32 major marks render their senses exquisitely refined. Their awe-inspiring limbs are graced by empty minor sight, filled with merit and glory like splendid rays of spinning light. They orbit just as the sun in the darkness of the triple realm, pure as lapis with an array of rich color, exquisitely adorned by myriad webs of light. Your limbs resemble the crystal, silver, and crimson of dawn. Like the sun, O sages, you're enchantingly glorious. For those fallen into the great river of cyclic existence, tossed amidst crushing waves of sorrow and death, may abundant immense rays of the sun that is the Tathagata deplete the ocean of samsara, violent and cruel, with limbs shining brightly the color of gold. There lives some source fearless among the three realms. Their limbs are adorned with intensely charming marks. I prostrate to the Buddhas whose bodies sparkle gold. Just as water in the ocean cannot be measured, just as dust on the earth is utterly without end, just as Mount Sumeru possesses matchless stones, and the edge of space is infinitely unknown. Likewise, the virtues of Buddhas are limitless. Sentient beings took the measure of their qualities, and for countless eons reflected upon them. Still, the extent of their virtue could not be seen. If counted for eons, one may possibly know water droplets at hair end, or particles of the earth's mountain, oceans, and rocks, but not the Buddha's virtues. May sentient beings evolve into such Buddhas. Scholar, fame, and renown, their bodies embellished with major marks of goodness, and the sublime 80 minor signs. Doing the virtuous action, I shall soon become a Buddha on this earth, preaching the doctrine that guides the world. I shall free beings forever afflicted by suffering. I shall triumph over Mara. I shall turn the wheel of virtuous Dharma, abiding for inconceivable eons. I shall satisfy sentient beings with the water of Dharma's nectar, just as conquerors of the past completed 6 perfections. These perfections I too shall fully accomplish. My ignorance, hatred, and desire pacified, I shall conquer delusion and dispel pain. Just my former births, hundreds of existences and 10 millions of lives, always recalling the vanquishing sages. I shall listen to their teachings in full. Through these virtuous actions, I shall always find the company of Buddhas, source of every excellence. I shall thoroughly renounce unwholesome deeds. May the creatures of samsara's various realms be at peace without the misery of their world. May beings who lack sense faculties or hold defective ones be endowed with powers complete. for beings feeble in body, afflicted with their disease, and in all 10 directions devoid of defense. May they swiftly be free of their ailments, obtain perfect senses, strength, and good health. For those who peril by threats and death from kings or thugs, tormented by 100,000 afflictions, may these beings, wretched, weak with sorrow, be free from hundreds of horrific fears. For those who are tortured, bound, and beaten, distressed by passion or captured by delusion, may these beings, fearful, faced with sorrow, be freed from the shackles of bondage. May those who are beaten find freedom from beating. May those facing murder be endowed with life. May those who are feeble be without fear. May beings tortured by hunger, craving, and thirst immediately find a wealth of food and drink. May the blind see an abundance of forms, and the deaf hear captivating sounds. May the naked find plentiful attire, and the poor find mines of treasure. Through wealth of riches, grain, or jewels, may beings be endowed with serenity and joy. May no being face the face of affliction. May all beings be attractive and handsome, endowed with exquisite, beautiful, auspicious forms. May every life be replete with infinite joy. Soon as they wish, may there immediately be food, drink, great affluence, and merit, large flutes and beyond, springs, pools, waterholes, and ponds, imbued with gold, golden lotuses. Likewise, may they receive at once food, drink, clothing, and wealth, gems like lapis, Roman world. May no sound of woe be heard anywhere in the world, not anyone being in poor health be seen. Instead, my beings have great complexion. In each other's radiance may they mutually shine. Whatever forms of excellence there are in the human world, whatever their wish for, may these come to be. The moment they arise through the ripening of virtue, may the aspirations of sentient beings be fulfilled. May perfume, incense, garlands, and ointments, clothing, powder, and abundant flowers rain down from the trees 3 times. Thus may sentient beings be filled with joy. May they venerate inconceivable Tathagat in all the 10 directions, completing Travakat and likewise the flawless, pristine Dharma. May my greeting beings avoid the lower realm. May they go beyond the 8 unfortunate states. May they attain the 8 auspicious conditions. May meetings with Buddhas always be received. Always born in high classes. May beings be replete with wealth and with grace. For numerous eons may they be endowed, great form, renown, complexion, fame. May all women become like men, heroic, learned, lucid, and strong, endeavoring to complete the 6 perfections. May they incessantly strive for enlightenment. May they come to behold Buddhas in the 10 directions, seated these beyond individual spirit stately trees. May they hear the Buddha's Dharma explained. Unwholesome deeds I performed, created in wretched existences past. May those negative effects of ripened deeds be completely extinguished. May those beings who are tied to existence, tightly bound by the rope of the cyclic round, unravel their bondage with the wisdom hand, quickly be freed from all suffering. Whatever beings here in Jumbo Deep and in other world spheres too, perform profound virtuous acts. In these deeds I rejoice in full, through the merit of action of body, speech, and mind, through rejoicing in others' virtue. May every fruit of my prayers and practice unfold. May the pristine, fearless enlightenment be attained. Those who recite this dedication, to prostrate and praise in an unsoiled mind, always devout and free of stains, shall avoid terrible rebirth for 60 eons. By reciting these verses, who praise the conquerors with folded hands, who remain in their verse in every life, they shall receive bodies adorned with complete limbs and myriad merits and virtue. The lords of humans will honor them always. Such will they be in each place of birth. Those into whose ears this confession enters have not performed virtue under just one Buddha, not 2, nor 4, nor 5, nor 10, nor in the presence of nearly 1,000 Buddhas have they completed virtue. This ends the 4th chapter, the chapter on confession, the King of Glorious Sutras, Sublime Golden Line. Imagine waves of light and nectar, waves of bliss from Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, pervading us and all the sentient beings, purifying us and enabling us to fulfill all that is mentioned in this chapter. Okay, so some people may need to go soon, so let's distribute some prasad. Don't want people to go without that. Where did Sanjay go? To wash them, that's good. So let's make sure. Just could some people help just to distribute? Then we'll say some final short prayers later, but just so that people get something. And we need a break, right? Short break. Let's not make it into a big one. A short break. Just pass out a few things. Not everyone has to get everything at once, but later you can do. Let's try to keep the energy of the prayer, not get too distracted. Thank you, people online, very much. Yeah, thank you so much, whoever's online. Ranjana, Neil, Runa, Koheli, Kasumti, Naveen ji, Nivita ji, thanks so much. Keval ji, thank you. Ankit, Ranjan, not yet finished. I hope you have some tasty prasad your end, Keval ji. So you can join us. Ab to prasad bat raha hai, thoda samay lagega. Glad you're looking so happy. Naveen ji, sorry you're not here. We would offer you. Kahan ja rahe hain? You're going. You said you'd stay to the end. Take some prasads if you need to go. We'll be in touch, okay? Thanks for coming. Take care. Huh? Always nice to see you. That was Aruna Vasudevji, the great disseminator of Asian cinema. Thank you, Nivita ji, for your expert work, having come down so quickly from the higher realms into the lower depths.
Thank you, Kabirji, for a beautiful puja.
This is the cluster grabbing at the back. You can see them. So happy to have a break and about to get the prasad. The sagar is. It's already been taken, some of it, then it should be taken off the altar. Yeah, right. Yeah. And we'll focus on Shakyamuni Buddha now, the kind Shakyamuni and His Holiness above. And the picture of Lama Yeshe, our founder, above the head of Tara. Above the Tara statue, you see Lama Yeshe. Above Shakyamuni Buddha, you see His Holiness. Then there's Maitreya Buddha. Also below Tara, you see three small statues. The middle one with the yellow hat is Lama Tsongkhapa, founder of the Yellow Hat School. There's a bigger Tsongkhapa the other side of the altar. This is the small one. The picture below Shakyamuni Buddha with the yellow rim at the top, that is the 17 great Pandits of Nalanda, whom His Holiness specially wrote verses for, to all of the 17 great Pandits, like Nagarjuna, Aryadeva, Chandrakirti, and all of them, Shantideva. Yeah, so that's the picture there. And then there's a small picture of Lama Zopa Rinpoche next to that. And then next to Lama Zopa Rinpoche's small picture is a small Guru Rinpoche statue, Padmasambhava, who helped transmit Buddhism to Tibet. And behind Padmasambhava and the small Rinpoche picture is a small Maitreya statue. Yeah. Thank you, Surabhi. Sorry you couldn't come. Haven't seen you for a long time. Hope you and your parents are okay. The quicker we distribute, the quicker we pray and taste. ज़्यादा बातचीत पूरा लोक सभा ठीक है, no problem. So blessed anyway. पूरा लोक सभा कराते हैं लोग कुछ. आने का सभा. तुषिता ढाबा. ढाबा जैसा है. भूखे हैं लोग. भूखे रहते हैं बेचारे. Okay. There is a prayer sheet in front of you called, what's it called? Food offering prayer. Food offering prayers, folks.
Food offering prayer.
Yep. Okay, I'll recite it anyway. You can listen. So imagine there is a small Buddha at your heart, and we are offering the food to this sublime small Buddha at our heart, because we all have Buddha within us, Buddha nature. Buddha wasn't just somebody who lived 2,500 years ago. We all have the seed of Buddha, the awakened mind. So we are offering delicious nectar to the Buddha in our hearts. And then we can imagine, much bliss being experienced by Buddha, by us, and then light rays going out and purifying everybody. Make it as elaborate as you wish or as simple as you wish. Oma, hum, oma, hum, oma. Lai mai sang ye lai ma je de xin lai ma ge de te ong gi je po lai ma te lai ma nai la Guru's Buddha, Guru's the Dharma, Guru's the Sangha also, the Guru's the creator of all happiness. To all Gurus, I make this offering. May we and those around us in all future lives never be separated from the three jewels, continuously make offerings to the three jewels, and receive the inspiration of the three jewels. To the Supreme Teacher, the precious Buddha, the Supreme Refuge, the precious Dharma, to the Supreme Guides, the precious Sangha, to the Triple Gem, the objects of refuge, I make offering. Please enjoy. Please enjoy online. Rejoice in our offerings. Whoever brought these delicious sweets, thank you very much. They are now being transformed into nectar, light rays. So you might be thinking this is a long puja, but this is nothing. With Rinpoche, 3 hours, 4 hours, no problem. 5 hours. This is just, this is beginners.
Pujas every day.
Lamas like Rinpoche, I think. I mean, they did prayers, right? Sadhanas. Puja is specifically when offering to the Guru or to a particular Buddha, Bodhisattva, or Dharma protector for various, there could be many reasons to do it. Someone is sick or someone needs help, or if it's like King of Prayers, it's not a puja, it's like a prayer, but pujas would be done maybe not every day necessarily, not a puja, But if you take puja to mean offering to the guru, then in some sense, every great lama would be, as part of their prayer practice, be making offerings to their gurus mentally. Yeah, so in that sense, they're pujas. But in terms of a, Shakyamuni Buddha puja or Guru puja or Tara puja, not necessarily every day. Although the monasteries and the monks and nuns, they would mostly, puja. Yeah, I think in the great Gelupa monastery, they do puja, some puja or other every day. Because if they don't go to pujas, the monks don't get breakfast like gets distributed at puja, your tea and your bread. Except Western monks, they have their own little kitchen sometimes, so they do their own. But yeah, it is a very important. I'll try and retrieve what Kadrala wrote about pujas in one of the Mandala magazines, because yeah, often it's hard to understand why this should be happening, and kind of food and drink, instruments, and people looking like they're having quite a good time. Also, one wonders why, is that religious? Or why is it going on? So she explains very beautifully. This great lady practitioner, Kadrala, she explains why we do puja. I mean, mainly it's to generate positive energy, merit, punya. The lamas don't need, the Buddhists don't need our offerings, but we need to make them. This is a typical Bengali sandesh.
Yeah.
Because it's got hardly any sugar. It's
It's
great.
very nice.
Hardly any sugar. Yeah, of course,
It has sugar, Kabirji.
but very little. It seems.
Thank you.
I'll embarrass you again. Sanjay ji has been a sponsor of Tushita for 25 years, maybe more. And was a student who used to come to Tushita when we were in Shantiniketan. How many years ago? A long time ago.
55.
He was a student. Now
But
he's,
I have learned nothing. Because all depends on the person.
now he's a supporter, very kind man, ably supported by. Where'd you go?
He'll be
Yeah. So both of you, thank you for keeping him sane, trying to keep him sane. Thank you very much. Thank you, Arunaji, for staying. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, Director. Thank you very much. Good to see you live. Please, yeah,
Please take over.
maybe take a pomegranate, someone who likes healthy food.
Thank you, Kabirji.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Okay. We're almost there, folks, but we must do some dedication prayer. And so on your or Badman, if you could, yeah.
It's okay. So
Maybe just make whatever donation you want. These banana chips are good.
Very nice.
This is a southern thing, no?
Yes.
Still there, folks?
Typically from Kerala, Kabirji, the banana
What's
chip.
that? Banana
We
chips?
we Keralites claim authorship over it.
Acha. There was a Jesuit father in Bodh Gaya from Nagarkoil. Yeah, so many kinds of course, that's not Kerala, right? But
Yes.
all these different kind of banana trees he would bring up to Bodh Gaya to plant. Very exotic kind of bananas. And so we would have that. Mother Lawrence, he's still there.
Wow.
Yeah. Wondrous are the ways of nature. Yeah. Okay, so now that we have been fully fed up and fulfilled, as our ex-landlord used to say, did you meet Bandari? Did you ever meet him? Brahma's husband? Anyway, so now that we are fed up and fulfilled, we can carry on. Seems like nobody gets the joke. Okay. Oh, thank you. Someone's laughing. Thank you. These people are all very serious because it's a puja, you see. I think we have to cry. Okay. So now we have to recite not only His Holiness Dalai Lama's long life prayer and the request for the quick return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, but I thought I could just read a few verses and you can listen to a few verses from the dedication chapter of Shantideva's great text, from Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, chapter 10. And yeah, so this is the 10th chapter of this great work, which Shantideva started by saying that he knows nothing and he's just repeating what we all know and that he has no skill in explaining and so forth. And then he expounds this most extraordinary work, which inspires us 1300 years later. So I'll just take a few of these verses, picked virtually at random, and we can just use your imagination and dedicate strongly and with a sense of rejoicing, gratitude, but with a tinge of sadness as well, because we know how much people are suffering and went through today without the benefit of any meaningful aspiration, just trying to survive. It's very sad. May all beings everywhere, plagued with sufferings of body and mind, obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtue of my merits. For as long as they remain in cyclic existence, may their mundane happiness never decline. May all of them uninterruptedly receive waves of joy from Bodhisattvas. May those feeble with cold find warmth, and those oppressed with heat be cool. The boundless waters
that pour forth from the great clouds of the Bodhisattva's merit.
Thank you, Naveenji. You're a split second behind me, but thank you. Yeah. May, you don't know what I'm going to recite next. Neither do I. May the regions of hell become places of joy with vast and fragrant lotus pools, beautiful with the exquisite calls of wild ducks, geese, and swans. May the blind see forms, may the deaf hear sounds. Just as it was with Maya Devi, may pregnant women give birth without any pain. May the naked find clothing, hungry find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth, those weak with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find new hope, constant happiness, and prosperity. May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from their illness, and may every disease in the world never occur again. I think this next verse is so amazing, simple, but very good. May the frightened cease to be afraid, those bound be freed. May the powerless find power, and may people think of benefiting one another. May all travelers find happiness everywhere they go, and without any effort, may they accomplish whatever they set out to do. May troubled wanderers who have lost their way meet with fellow travelers and without any fear of thieves and tigers, may their going be easy, without any fatigue. May beings be free from all states of no leisure, and be endowed with faith, wisdom, and kindness, with food obtained in a proper manner and excellent conduct. May they be mindful throughout their lives. May those who have little splendor come to be endowed with majesty. May those whose bodies are worn with toil find magnificent and noble forms. For all the circles of disciples, may many bodhisattvas dwell in every land, adorning them with their excellent manifestations. May all embodied beings, creatures, uninterruptedly hear the sound of dharma, issuing from birds and trees, beams of light, and even from space itself. May they always meet with Buddhas and their children, the bodhisattvas. Then may these spiritual masters of the world be worshipped with endless clouds of offering. May celestials bring timely rains so that harvests may be bountiful. May kings act in accordance with dharma, and the people of the world always prosper. May all medicines be effective and the repeating of mantras successful. May dakinis, cannibals, and the like be endowed with compassionate minds. May no living creature ever suffer, commit wrong, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled, or their minds ever be depressed. In all temples and monasteries, may reading and recitation flourish and remain. May the Sangha always be in harmony. May their purposes be accomplished. May monks and nuns desiring to practice find quiet and solitary places, and through having abandoned all wandering thoughts, may they meditate with flexible minds. May beings not experience the misery of lower realms. May they never know any hardships with the physical form superior to the gods. May they swiftly attain Buddhahood. Just as they intended, may the bodhisattvas fulfill the welfare of the world. And may all sentient beings receive whatever the Buddhas have intended for them. Until I reach the level of the joyous one through the kindness of Manjushri, may I always be mindful throughout all my lives and always obtain ordination. May I live and be sustained by simple common foods. And in all my lives, may I find the ideal solitude for practicing dharma. This next verse, one of His Holiness's favorites. For as long as space endures, for as long as living beings remain, until then, may I too remain to dispel the misery of the world. May the teachings, which are the sole medicine for suffering and the origin of every joy, be materially supported and honored and abide for a very long time. Last verse, in honor of the Guru. I prostrate to Manjushri, through whose kindness wholesome minds ensue, and I prostrate to my spiritual masters, through whose kindness I develop. Two prayers now. On the short, long life prayer for His Holiness, who recently told Roger Kunsang, late Lama Zopa Rinpoche's attendant, that I'm going to live for another 15 or 20 years. So that's very good news. May it be even more. His Holiness is now, will be 88 this year. So another 15, 20 years sounds good. Prayer for the long life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you're the source of all happiness and good. All-powerful Chenrezig Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends, and I'll recite it in Tibetan for auspiciousness. Gongde rawe korwe jingam de apendan dewa malu jungwen Chenrezig wan Tenzin Gyatso ye yabe zite bardu tengye was due to His Holiness escaping from Tibet in March 1959 that we are sitting here. Otherwise, there would be no Tibetan Buddhist centers around the world. People like Lama Yeshe would not have left. They would not have left, possibly. They wouldn't have left Tibet, or if they had left, they would have been leaderless. It would have been very difficult for the Tibetans if His Holiness had been captured by the Chinese or killed during the uprising in March 1959. So, as Rinpoche constantly reminded us, His Holiness is none other than Avalokitesvara, Buddha of compassion, and it's due to his kindness that we've benefited so much and are continuing to benefit. And he is giving tremendous guidance now to our organization, what with Rinpoche having departed. And he said he will help in whatever way he can with the identification of the reincarnation that we hope will soon appear. Okay, then we have a long life prayer that was written by the Kadrula that I mentioned earlier. And she wrote it on a flight between Delhi and Kathmandu, just a few days after Rinpoche passed away. She's someone who has helped His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Rinpoche, and many other lamas. Very exquisitely graceful and noble woman, practitioner, endowed with infinite qualities. Rinpoche used to say of her, she's constantly abiding in a state of realization of emptiness and so forth. Highly, totally superior being. So she wrote this prayer that we can now recite, the prayer with a photograph of Rinpoche in meditation after he was clinically dead, and of Kadrula in the aeroplane, taken by Fabrizio, who translated it, a wonderful Italian man, translator, who translated it. So remembering those of you who saw or met Rinpoche, or who've seen a video, or I hope will see videos of his teachings. Remember him? Pledge to continue his work. That's the main point to do also. Practice running centers, creating these new projects like the Maitreya project in Kushinagar. Practicing, especially Bodhicitta and emptiness. Okay, hope you all have the prayer. Lama, you know, Lama, you know. I beg you to listen to me, gentle root Lama. I appeal to you with a sudden, desperate request. Do not deprive us of your compassionate refuge. Lama, you are the blessings of the Buddhas of the three times. Even though you are now in the great pervasive bliss of the unobstructed sphere of clear light, it is now that we need your great compassion. Quickly emanate the supreme body, the transcendental wisdom emanation, the various emanations of the dance of the great compassion of the supreme mind. Arise, rise, return from the sphere of the Dharmakaya. I invoke you, I invoke you, I invoke you for the sake of being in the pure land of Dakinis and other pure lands. Please return at once to make the scriptural and realizational teachings flourish for the sentient beings of the world to the south. Come back right away, because these desperate beings are so kind and are desperately calling you. They want to see you. They want to be blessed in body, speech, and mind. We are the sentient beings hallucinated and confused by the conception of ignorance. In the sphere of the luminous emptiness of the three supreme bodies, we confess the samayas that we have degenerated. Let there be the auspiciousness of emptiness and compassion, the supreme auspiciousness of all auspiciousness. Let there be the auspiciousness of the quick meeting of the disciple and the Lama. By the power of the truth of unchanging reality, may the perfect reincarnation quickly appear. I, the Dakini, with pure faith, in sorrow, weeping in despair, due to the blessings of the three roots, may the wishes of this beggar be fulfilled. Object, subject, and action in the sphere of the reality of luminosity and bliss are. So now spend a few moments just dedicating mentally for people you know. Did somebody give a name this morning? So mentally dedicate, all of you, please dedicate for Tushita, for our landlady, very kind, Prama Mandari, who's 83 and hasn't been very well, very bravely carrying on. Also for Hiran Bhavnani, commemoration of her 99th birthday. Anil's mother. And we remember all of our mothers, whether living or dead, who have done so much for us. And we were totally helpless, all the motherly beings. According to Mahayana, all sentient beings have been our mother in previous lives, beginningless past lives. Shantideva at one point says, is our life only going to be one in which we just wasted it, having just given pain to our mother when she gave birth to us? Is that all our life is? Giving pain to the mother, wasting the life? So we dedicate that we can be of most benefit to sentient beings through this center. May all the other centers in the world that are benefiting others have great success, in, inspiring the minds of countless sentient beings. May we never be discouraged. Always remember the Buddha nature. As His Holiness once said in quick summary when he needed to go somewhere but needed to encapsulate what he had been talking about, he said, remember the kindness of all sentient beings and perceive all phenomena as like a dream. So may we become experts in that. And having, of course, remembered the kindness, repay the kindness in the best way possible by achieving the mind of Bodhicitta and enlightenment. May countless beings remember Lord Buddha and his actions and be able to visit his holy places, the 8 places of Buddhist pilgrimage, especially the main 4, Bodh Gaya, Sarnath, Lumbini, and Kushinagar. May they be inspired by these places, inspired to practice. And engage in service for sentient beings, especially the younger generation who need tremendous help in a, what should we say, challenging world situation. Okay, thank you very much everyone for your patience. Thank you onliners for your patience. Thank you Nivita.
Thank you, Kabirji.
Thank you Nivita ji. Thank you.
Kabirji.
Thank you Kasumti too.
Thank you.
To केवल जी, अरे बाप रे, आप अभी भी हैं. Thank you sir. आइए इस तरफ.